It's Thursday afternoon, August 7th, and WNBA general managers are frantically working their phones. The clock is ticking, and with just hours left before the PM Eastern trade deadline, one phone call could completely shift the championship landscape. This isn't just any ordinary deadline, this is a deadline that could make or break playoff dreams. What makes this year's trade deadline absolutely explosive? Nearly every non-rookie contract expires after this season due to the impending collective bargaining agreement expiration. This means general managers are facing the ultimate gamble. Do they go all in for a championship run this year, or do they play it safe and prepare for an uncertain future? The stakes have never been higher, and the ripple effects of these decisions will echo through the league for years to come. Before we dive into the blockbuster trades that could reshape the playoff picture, let's understand exactly how WNBA trades work, because unlike other professional leagues, the WNBA operates under some unique rules that make these deadline deals even more intriguing. First, any player can be traded, and here's the kicker. Contracts don't need to be equal for trades to happen. This opens up possibilities that simply don't exist in other leagues. There are no cash considerations in WNBA trades, which means teams can't just throw money at problems. When a player gets traded, the acquiring team immediately becomes responsible for the rest of her salary from that point forward. This salary cap reality creates a delicate balancing act that general managers must navigate carefully. Draft picks are also valuable trade assets, and we're already seeing the impact of this with the 2026 draft order, including several trades that have already been completed. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not every team can even participate in deadline day drama. Some teams are completely handcuffed by salary cap constraints, while others have the financial flexibility to make major moves. The New York Liberty, despite being championship contenders, have limited cap space, just $119,000 before signing Belgian superstar Emma Meesman. This constraint means they're likely spectators rather than major players at the deadline. Minnesota, sitting pretty at 23-5 as the league's top team, has even less wiggle room with only $43,494 in cap space. But honestly, when you have chemistry that good and a record that dominant, why mess with success? Atlanta finds themselves in salary cap prison, completely unable to make moves, while Indiana has a full 12-player roster. The Fever have been active in the free agent market due to injury issues, recently signing Chloe Bibby to a rest-of-season contract. This salary cap landscape creates a fascinating dynamic where teams with the most need might not have the financial flexibility to address it, while teams with cap space might not have the urgency to make moves. Golden State, in their inaugural season, has approximately $300,000 in cap space, making them one of the most dangerous teams at the deadline. They have the resources and the motivation to make a splash. Now let's get to the trades that could actually happen, starting with a move that makes perfect sense for both sides. DiJonai Carrington heading from Dallas to Golden State for a second-round draft pick. Golden State was riding high on Kayla Thornton's breakout all-star season until disaster struck on July 25th with a devastating knee injury that ended her season. For a franchise trying to make the playoffs in their very first year, this was a crushing blow that left a massive hole in their defensive identity. Enter DiJonai Carrington, a defensive specialist who brings exactly what Golden State needs. Carrington is absolutely relentless on the defensive end of the floor, the kind of player who can completely disrupt opposing offenses and change the complexion of games. But here's the interesting part: Carrington has been dealing with ongoing injury issues this season, which is why Dallas might be willing to part with her for just a second-round pick. The Wings are clearly looking toward the future, building around their upcoming rookie sensation Paige Bueckers. For Golden State, this is a low-risk, high-reward move. They have the cap space to absorb Carrington's contract, and if she can stay healthy, she could be the defensive catalyst that propels them into the playoffs. This trade represents the perfect example of how timing and need can create value. Dallas gets a future asset for a player they might lose anyway, while Golden State gets an immediate impact player who could define their inaugural playoff push. The Valkyries have shown they're not afraid to be aggressive, and adding Carrington would signal their serious intent to make noise in their first postseason appearance. The second trade scenario involves addressing one of the most glaring weaknesses of an otherwise elite team: Seattle's offensive struggles. The Storm's defense is absolutely incredible with Gabby Williams, Ezzy Magbiger, and Dominique Malonga patrolling the paint. They can shut down anyone, but offense? That's where things get complicated. Seattle ranks 9th in the league in points per game at just 80.7, and they're making only 7 points for three-pointers per game. For a team with championship aspirations, these numbers simply aren't good enough. Currently sitting 4th in the WNBA at 16-11, Seattle is hoping veteran stars Nneka Agwamike and Skylar Diggins-Smith can lead them to a title. But championship teams need depth, and more importantly, they need players who can knock down shots when the pressure is highest. Rebecca Allen from Chicago could be the perfect solution. Allen is the definition of a plug-and-play veteran. She's played for 4 different teams over the past 4 seasons, adapting quickly to new systems and providing instant offensive spark. Allen's shooting ability and veteran savvy could be exactly what Seattle needs to unlock their offensive potential. She's proven she can step into any situation and contribute immediately. But here's the challenge: to afford Allen's contract, Seattle would need to move salary out. Enter Alicia Clark, whose $185,000 contract becomes the key to making this trade work. The proposed deal: Rebecca Allen to Seattle for Alicia Clark and a draft pick. For Chicago, currently rebuilding and looking toward the future, getting Clark's veteran leadership plus a draft pick to help build their foundation makes sense. Clark brings championship experience and professionalism to a young Chicago team, while the draft pick gives them another building block for the future. Meanwhile, Seattle gets the shooter they desperately need to complement their dominant defense. Our final trade scenario might be the most intriguing of all, involving one of this season's most pleasant surprises, the Washington Mystics. Under first-year head coach Sydney Johnson, this young Mystics team has exceeded all expectations. Led by rookie all-stars Sonia Citron and Kiki Iriafen, Washington sits at 13-14, currently 9th in the league but very much in the playoff hunt. The youth movement in Washington has been remarkable to watch, with these rookies playing with the poise and confidence of seasoned veterans. But championship runs require more than just talented rookies. They need veteran leadership and frontcourt depth. This is where Azurá Stevens from Los Angeles enters the picture. Stevens is having an outstanding season, averaging 14.7 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 1.9 assists per game. She brings exactly what Washington needs: veteran savvy, scoring ability, and the kind of leadership that can guide young players through the pressure of playoff basketball. For Los Angeles, Stevens becomes somewhat expendable with Cameron Brink returning healthy. The Sparks need to balance their roster, and moving Stevens could help them address other areas of need. In this proposed trade, Washington would send Aaliyah Edwards and a second-round draft pick to Los Angeles for Stevens. Edwards, despite her talent, has been somewhat eclipsed by Washington's sensational rookie class and could benefit from a fresh start in Los Angeles. This trade represents a win-win scenario. Washington gets the veteran presence they need for a playoff push, while Los Angeles gets a young player with upside plus a future draft asset. The impact of Stevens joining Washington's young core could be transformative. Imagine the mentorship opportunities for Citron and Iriafen, learning from a player who's been through playoff battles and understands what it takes to succeed at the highest level. These trades aren't happening in a vacuum. Each move creates ripple effects throughout the league that could completely reshape the championship picture. When teams make deadline deals, they're not just improving their roster for this season. They're making statements about their championship ambitions. Golden State acquiring Carrington would signal they're serious about making their inaugural playoff run memorable. A defensive-minded team with playoff urgency could be extremely dangerous, especially if they can steal a few games early in the playoffs. Seattle adding Allen's shooting could transform them from a good defensive team to a complete championship contender. Their defense is already elite. Adding reliable offensive firepower could make them the most balanced team in the league. Washington landing Stevens could accelerate their rebuild by years. Instead of waiting for their rookies to develop, they could become legitimate playoff threats immediately. The experience Stevens brings could be invaluable in helping their young players navigate their first postseason experience. But trades also mean other teams miss out on these players. The domino effect is real. When one contender gets significantly better, it forces other teams to either respond with moves of their own or accept that their championship window might be closing. Teams like Minnesota and New York, constrained By salary caps, have to watch potential improvements slip away to competitors. This creates additional pressure on their existing rosters to perform at even higher levels. As we approach Thursday's PM Eastern deadline, the tension throughout the league is palpable. General managers are weighing immediate championship dreams against long-term franchise building, all while navigating the uncertainty of the upcoming CBA negotiations. This year's unique circumstances, with most contracts expiring and CBA uncertainty looming, create an environment where bold moves become more likely. Some GMs will choose the conservative path, protecting their future flexibility. Others will swing for the fences, believing this might be their best championship opportunity for years to come. The beauty of deadline day is that nobody knows what will actually happen until those final minutes tick away. Phone calls are being made, offers are being considered, and championship dreams hang in the balance. Will Golden State make the move for Carrington and signal their serious playoff intentions? Can Seattle address their offensive struggles by landing a proven shooter like Allen? Will Washington accelerate their rebuild with a veteran presence like Stevens? These questions will be answered soon, but the impact of Thursday's decisions will reverberate through the WNBA for years to come. Championship windows open and close quickly in professional sports, and the teams that act decisively at the deadline often find themselves hoisting trophies at season's end. The clock is ticking. The phones are ringing, and WNBA history is about to be written. Thursday can't come soon enough.